The doors of the Galactic court opened with a low, resonant hum that shook the marble floor beneath my feet. I, a human, stepped inside and felt a chill run down my spine. The hall was enormous, far larger than any building on Earth, and it stretched endlessly, filled with lights that shimmered like stars and symbols that moved like living paintings across the walls. Delegates from hundreds of worlds floated, hovered, or slithered around, their eyes fixed on me. I could feel their judgment, their curiosity, and in some cases, their disbelief. A single human had been summoned before the greatest court in the galaxy. And everyone wanted to see why. At the far end of the hall, on a raised platform, stood the alien queen. Her presence was breathtaking and terrifying at the same time. She towered above all, her silver-blue skin glowing faintly like liquid moonlight. Her eyes were deep and endless, shimmering with wisdom, sorrow, and authority that no human could ever truly understand. Every being in the hall seemed to shrink in her presence, yet I felt an odd weightlessness, as if the air itself recognized the importance of what was about to happen. She raised her head and looked directly at me. "Where is my daughter?" Her voice was not loud, yet it echoed across the chamber, powerful enough to make the hair on my arms stand on end. Every eye turned toward us. Every movement seemed to freeze. Even the court's usual low hum of conversation disappeared. I was small and fragile compared to the giants around me, yet in that moment, the truth I carried felt heavier than the entire galaxy. I swallowed hard. My heart pounded in my chest. The question was simple, but the answer could change everything. The Queen's daughter had vanished from her home planet years ago, and I was one of the few who knew what had happened. What she was about to hear could heal her or shatter her forever. I felt the weight of responsibility pressing down on me. I was just a human, a species so small, so weak, that many of these delegates probably thought I had no right to speak. Yet here I stood, ready to speak the truth, no matter the cost. The Queen's eyes softened for a moment, just enough for me to see the mother behind the ruler. I imagined her holding her child when she was small, laughing and playing under the soft light of her planet. And then, I remembered the first time I met her daughter, curious, fearless, and eager to understand humans. She had asked questions about our world, our habits, our small joys, and I had taught her everything I could. She had smiled, a strange mix of alien beauty and human curiosity, and I had felt something shift in me. She wasn't just an alien child learning about humans. She was learning courage, empathy, and compassion, lessons that would shape her into someone remarkable. The hall fell completely silent. I could hear the Queen's breathing, slow and measured, as she waited for my answer. I took a step forward, my legs trembling, and tried to calm the fear in my voice. "Your daughter. She is alive," I said finally. "She is not lost, and she is not alone. She left your world because she wanted to see the universe, to learn and grow, and she carries your love with her wherever she goes." A murmur rippled through the court, whispers of disbelief and curiosity. Some delegates shook their heads, as if they could not believe a human would have the courage to speak to the Queen this way. One of the taller, tentacled judges hissed something under its breath, but I ignored it. My words were not for them. They were for the Queen and for her daughter, wherever she might be. The Queen tilted her head slightly, her gaze piercing straight into my soul. I felt like she was trying to see everything I had ever thought, every fear and every hope. "Tell me everything," she said, her voice softer now, almost fragile. "I want to know the truth of my daughter. As she is, not as I imagined her to be." I took a deep breath, steadying myself. I had rehearsed this speech many times in my mind, but no words could capture the weight of this moment. "She learned from humans," I said, choosing each word carefully. "She learned bravery, kindness, and the strength to stand even when she is afraid. She chose to see the universe because she wanted to grow, to understand, and to become the person she was meant to be. She carries your teachings, your love, and your guidance with her, even as she learns to become her own person." For the first time, I saw a flicker of emotion cross the Queen's face, something softer than command or authority. I saw hope, fear, and a mother's longing all at once. I realized then that no matter how powerful she was, no matter how vast her kingdom, she was still a mother who wanted to know the truth about her child. And I, a fragile human, was the one who could give it to her. The hall seemed to hold its breath. All eyes were on us, yet the entire galaxy could have waited. In that moment, it was just the Queen and me and the truth I carried. And though my hands trembled and my voice shook, I knew I would speak it, because the truth, no matter how small or human it seemed, could change everything. The hall remained silent, the echo of my words still lingering like a faint pulse through the marble floor. The queen's gaze never wavered. Her silver blue eyes locked onto mine, searching, probing, as though trying to see not just my words but my soul. "Your daughter," she said slowly, her voice both gentle and trembling. "Tell me. Tell me where she is. Did you fail her? Did you let her slip away?" I felt a cold wave of fear run through me. The court watched, waiting, their countless alien eyes fixed on my every movement. Some floated closer, stretching their strange limbs toward me, as if they could absorb my fear through the air. Others whispered in languages I could not understand, their voices sharp like glass. But the queen's words were louder than all of them. She wasn't asking for politics, or power, or excuses. She was asking for truth. I swallowed hard, feeling the weight of the universe press down on my small human shoulders. "Your daughter. She is alive," I said, repeating the first part of what I had spoken before. But this time, my voice was firmer. "She left not because she abandoned you, but because she wanted to learn, to grow, and to understand the universe. She carries your love, your teachings, and your strength with her, everywhere she goes." The queen's head tilted slightly, curiosity and pain mixing in her glowing eyes. "Learning from humans?" she asked, disbelief hiding behind a thin veil of hope. "You mean she left the silver throne to follow the ways of a weaker species?" I met her gaze, my chest rising with courage I didn't know I had. "Yes," I said firmly. "Humans are fragile, yes. But we are brave. We fight even when the odds are against us. We love even when we are afraid." She saw that courage, that heart, and she learned from it. She became stronger, not in body, but in spirit. She became the person she was meant to be, because she embraced what we taught her. A murmur ran through the hall. Some delegates hissed, some laughed, and some whispered to each other with unease. One judge, a tentacled creature with dozens of luminescent eyes, leaned forward, its voice a low rasp that sent shivers down my spine. "A human teaching royalty? Ridiculous. She must have corrupted your daughter. How can a weak species guide the Silver Throne's heir?" I stood taller, surprising even myself. "No," I said, my voice steady now, echoing through the hall. "She was not corrupted. She was inspired. She learned kindness, courage, and sacrifice. She learned to see the world beyond fear and greed. And she carries that knowledge with her. She carries your wisdom, Queen, and she honors it in every choice she makes." The Queen's eyes softened, and I could see a flicker of something I had not seen before. Doubt, but also hope. "Is this true?" she whispered, almost to herself. "Did my daughter really learn from humans?" "Yes," I said softly, my voice trembling slightly. "She learned the truth of bravery, love, and sacrifice. She learned that strength is not just in power or conquest, but in caring, in standing up for what is right, even when it is hard. She carries your guidance and ours, both, and she walks the path you wished for her. And more." The Queen's hands, long and elegant, rested on the edge of the platform as she leaned forward, as though she could bridge the distance between us. Her eyes glimmered with unshed tears. "I feared," she admitted, her voice breaking, "that she would forget me, that she would leave me behind. But your words tell me she has not forgotten. She carries me with her. She carries love." I nodded, feeling warmth spread through my chest. I was only human, yet in this moment, I could give hope to the mother who had feared the worst. "She carries both your love and our lessons," I said. "She has become strong not because she abandoned you, but because she learned to live with heart, courage, and truth. She is alive and she is becoming the hero you always hoped she would be." The tentacled judge hissed again, but the Queen ignored it. She was no longer questioning my words. She was listening, really listening, and I could see her heart opening like a flower under a soft light. Every being in the hall seemed to pause, sensing the truth of what I said. Even the court, so used to politics, power struggles, and decrees, felt the weight of a simple human truth, the power of courage, love, and heart. For the first time, I realized that humans, though small and fragile, could teach lessons that no alien technology, no starship, and no power could ever replicate. And for the first time, I saw a mother, a mighty queen, tremble, not with anger or grief, but with hope. "Tell me more," she whispered, her tears now glimmering like stars in her silver-blue skin. "Tell me how she became strong." I drew a deep breath, knowing that the words I spoke next would shape the future of this court, this mother, and her daughter. And as I looked around the hall, I realized something extraordinary. Sometimes, the smallest voices carry the heaviest truths. And sometimes, A human can heal the heart of a queen. The hall of the Galactic Court seemed to shift around me, the air charged with tension. The delegates whispered among themselves, their voices strange and alien, each tone like a note in a symphony I could barely comprehend. Some floated closer, their eyes narrowing in suspicion. Others leaned back, their limbs folding into themselves, silent but watchful. I felt the weight of their judgment pressing down on my small human shoulders, but I refused to flinch. The queen's gaze never left mine. Her silver blue eyes held a storm of emotions, love, fear, hope, and a mother's sorrow. She wanted answers, and I had to give them. I took a deep breath, steadying the trembling in my hands. "Your daughter," I began, "she is alive. She carries your teachings, your love, and your guidance with her. But she also carries what she learned from humans. She learned courage, kindness, and the strength to act even when she was afraid." A sharp hiss cut through the hall. One of the court's senior judges, a tall being with dozens of writhing tentacles and eyes that glowed like molten metal, leaned forward, its voice a low rasp that shook the air. "Humans? Weak, fragile, primitive humans. You dare claim that they taught a royal of the silver throne?" I met its many eyes, refusing to be intimidated. "Yes," I said, my voice louder now, filled with certainty. "Humans may be fragile, but our hearts are strong. We fight even when the odds are against us. We love even when it is dangerous. Your daughter saw that, and she learned. She became stronger not because she left you, but because she embraced the courage humans teach every day. She carries your wisdom and ours together in her heart." Another judge snorted, its voice like cracking ice. "This is absurd. A human and insignificant, fragile creature claims to have shaped royalty? Surely you exaggerate or deceive for your own pride." I straightened, feeling a warmth of determination spread through me. "I do not exaggerate," I said. "I speak only truth. She is alive and she is remarkable, not because of her throne, but because she learned to see the universe through courage, love, and honesty. She carries your teachings, Queen, but she also carries lessons of humanity that made her stronger. Without these lessons, she would not be the person she is today." The Queen leaned forward, her hands gripping the edge of the platform, her eyes glimmering with unshed tears. "Is this true?" she whispered, her voice fragile, as though she feared my answer could shatter her completely. "Did my daughter truly learn from humans? Did she find strength outside her world?" "Yes," I said, my voice soft but unwavering. "She did. She chose to explore, to grow, and to learn. She carries both your love and the lessons of my kind. That combination has made her wise, compassionate, and courageous. She is alive and she's becoming the hero she was meant to be." I saw the Queen's body tremble slightly. Her eyes shimmered as if memories of her daughter flashed before her small hands reaching for hers, laughter echoing in moonlit halls, lessons of bravery and kindness shared across species. Her lips quivered. She looked at me not as a human, not as a stranger, but as someone who held the truth she had longed to hear. Yet the court was not convinced. Several delegates leaned forward, their expressions skeptical or angry. A being with wings like fire hissed, "How can a species so weak influence royalty? This is dangerous nonsense. Perhaps the human seeks favor or to rewrite history to their own glory." I lifted my chin, refusing to let fear rule me. "I speak no lies," I said. "I have only spoken what is real. Your daughter is alive, brave, and filled with both your love and ours. She learned what courage truly is. That is the truth, and nothing you say can change it." The Queen's hands shook slightly as she lowered her head, her tears glimmering like silver rain across her glowing skin. She whispered, almost to herself, "I feared she would forget me. I feared she would leave me forever, but your words tell me she carries me with her. She carries hope." The hall grew silent once more. Even the skeptics paused, sensing the weight of a human's truth. For a moment, I realized something extraordinary. Humans, small and fragile as we may be, can carry courage in ways that even the greatest of aliens might not understand. And for the first time, I saw the Queen's heart, not the ruler's. Not the power, but the mother's begin to open. Touched by what I, a human, had spoken, I knew the court might never fully understand. But it didn't matter. The truth had reached her. And that was enough. The Queen's eyes, vast and silver blue, shimmered with memories that stretched across years and light years. For the first time in what felt like centuries, she allowed herself to remember her daughter not as the royal heir, but as the child she had once held close. She remembered the small hands that clutched hers, the laughter that filled the palace halls. The nights she had spent tucking her daughter in beneath the gentle glow of their planet's twin moons. And then, the memories shifted. She saw her daughter with human small fragile beings from a distant blue planet. She watched, frozen, as her daughter reached out to touch their hands, their eyes wide with curiosity and kindness. She saw her child climbing trees taller than her height, helping strangers, laughing at small mistakes, learning to stand even when she was scared. The queen blinked, unsure how to feel. Her daughter had been gone for years, vanished from the silver throne, leaving a hollow ache in the queen's heart. She had feared betrayal, abandonment, even loss of love. But the images unfolding before her were different. Her daughter had not turned away from her. She had carried her lessons, her love, and her heart into a new world, into a new life that humans had helped shape. I stood quietly, watching her, feeling the weight of the moment. The court was silent now, all eyes drawn to the queen as she relived memories of her daughter's journey. She learned from humans? The queen whispered, her voice trembling with a mixture of awe and disbelief. She smiled when she returned to me? She was not afraid? She was alive? Yes, I said softly, my voice barely above a whisper. She was alive in ways even the silver throne could not teach. She saw courage, kindness, and love in our world, and she carried those lessons with her. That is why she is stronger, now not because she left, but because she embraced both her worlds. She is your daughter, but she is also a student of humanity. And that made her complete. The queen lowered her hands, long and elegant, letting them hover just above the marble surface as tears glimmered in her eyes. She had never realized that strength could come from such small, fragile creatures. The humans, whom many species dismissed as weak, had given her daughter courage. They had taught her lessons no throne, no palace, no royal command could ever provide. She really did all that. The queen whispered again. Her voice was filled with a mother's wonder, a mixture of fear and pride. I thought I had failed her. I thought I had lost her to the stars, to strangers, to dangers I could not protect her from. You did not fail her, I said, stepping closer, though still at a respectful distance. You gave her love, guidance, and the foundation she needed. But humans gave her courage, patience, and the understanding that strength is not just power, it is the heart. She learned to act, to care, to sacrifice, and to grow. She carries both our lessons, Queen. That is why she shines so brightly. The queen's tears began to fall freely now, tiny rivulets of silver blue cascading down her cheeks. She pressed a hand to her chest, as though to feel her daughter's presence within her own heart. I feared she would forget me, she admitted, her voice shaking. But your words, your truth. She carries me with her. She carries hope. A hush fell over the court. Even the skeptics, the doubters, the alien delegates who had questioned humans and my words seemed to pause. They could feel it, the undeniable truth that courage, love, and heart could come from the smallest of beings. And yet, touch even the greatest. The queen looked at me, her eyes filled with both sorrow and gratitude. You have shown me her truth, she said softly. You have shown me that my daughter is alive and that she is more than I imagined. She is brave, she is strong, and she carries love with her. I nodded, my chest tightening. It was not me who gave her these gifts, Queen. It was her heart, and it was yours. I only spoke the truth she lived. The queen's gaze softened further. For the first time, I saw her not as a ruler of worlds, but as a mother whose heart had been healed, however slightly, by the courage and truth of a human. She understood now that the galaxy was vast and full of danger. But her daughter's heart, shaped by love and courage from both human and alien worlds, was stronger than any fear, any obstacle, any court decree. And in that quiet moment, amid the towering presence of the Galactic Court, I realized something extraordinary. Humans, though small and fragile, could teach courage that even the greatest queens could not command. We could shape hearts, bridge worlds, and make the impossible possible. And in this, the queen and I shared a silent understanding. Her daughter's light was unstoppable, because it carried the courage of many worlds and a human heart. The queen's hands rested on the edge of the platform, her long thinge, our rest trembling slightly. Her silver blue skin shimmered under the light of the Galactic Court, reflecting 1,000 emotions at once. She looked at me not as a delegate, not as a stranger, but as someone who carried the truth she had been longing to hear. Her eyes glistened, deep pools of sorrow and hope intertwined. I feared, she whispered, her voice breaking. I feared I had failed her. I feared that she would forget me, that she would vanish from my life forever. Her words trembled with the weight of a mother's love. I sent her into the world to learn, to grow, but I feared the world would take her away from me. And now you tell me she carries me with her? She remembers me? Yes, Queen, I said softly, stepping closer, though still at a respectful distance. She carries you in every thought, every action, every choice. She is alive not in body alone, but in heart. She remembers your lessons, your love, and she has added her own courage and humanity to them. She has not forgotten you. She has grown because of you, and because of what she learned from humans. The Queen lowered her head, letting her tears fall freely. They shimmered like molten silver across her cheeks. She pressed a hand to her chest, as if to feel her daughter's heartbeat inside her own. I thought, she admitted, her voice barely a whisper, that I had sent her away into danger. That I had abandoned her. That she might hate me for letting her go. But your words, your truth, they tell me she carries love, not anger. She carries hope. She carries... Amay. A quiet hush fell over the court. The murmurs, the whispers, the skeptical glances all faded as the Queen's vulnerability became the center of attention. Even the most cynical delegates could not deny the raw honesty of the moment. A human so small, so fragile had brought a mighty alien queen to tears with nothing more than truth. I see her now, the Queen continued, her voice trembling but stronger than before. I see the child I held in my arms. And the woman she has become. She is brave. She is kind. She is wise, and she carries my heart with her. She carries both my love and the lessons of your world, human. She has learned to see beyond fear. She has learned courage that no throne could teach. I felt a lump rise in my throat. Her words, though directed at her daughter, felt like a gift to me as well. We humans had taught her something, shown her that strength could come from fragility, that courage could grow in hearts willing to try despite fear. And now the Queen understood that. Your species. She whispered, looking at me with awe. You're humans. You are fragile, yet you carry something no power, no throne, no army can hold. You teach love, bravery, and hope. You show my daughter that the universe is not only to be ruled, but to be lived, to be understood, to be loved. And for that, for showing her the courage to grow, I thank you. Tears rolled freely now, glimmering in the alien light like falling stars. She lifted her head and looked directly at me. You have given me something more than knowledge. You have given me peace. I feared for her, I feared I had lost her, but now I see. She is alive. She is mine, and yet she is hers. And she is strong. She is perfect. Her words echoed across the vast chamber. Reaching every corner of the Galactic Court, the delegates remained silent, watching a human and a queen share a truth that bridged species, worlds, and hearts. Even the skeptics seemed to feel the power of this simple, honest exchange. I see now, the Queen said, her voice softening further, that love is stronger than fear. Courage is greater than power. And hope. Hope is the most powerful thing in the universe. I nodded, my heart heavy with emotion. She learned from both of us, Queen. She carries your guidance and our lessons together. That is why she is strong, why she shines, and why she will never forget who she is. The Queen lowered her hands and pressed them to her face, letting her tears fall freely. She was no longer a ruler commanding attention. She was a mother, humbled and healed. Touched by the simple truth that her daughter had grown into greatness, carrying both alien and human lessons in her heart. And in that moment, I realized something extraordinary. Sometimes the smallest voice, the voice of a human, can heal even the greatest heart. The Queen's tears were not of sorrow alone, but of love, pride, and the understanding that her daughter's journey had been necessary. That journey had made her strong. That journey had made her complete. And in the heart of the Galactic Court, with beings from countless worlds watching, a human had reminded an alien queen of what truly mattered: love, courage, and the simple truth that her daughter was alive and thriving. The silence in the hall of the Galactic Court was thick, almost tangible. Every delegate, every judge, every being present seemed to hold its breath, watching the interaction between a human and the alien queen. For the first time, the Queen had lowered the barriers of command and pride, revealing the raw truth of a mother's heart. And that truth, spoken by a small fragile human, seemed to ripple across the entire court like a shockwave. The Queen's silver blue eyes shone with tears. Yet they carried something more now: recognition, gratitude, and a quiet pride that made even the most powerful delegates pause. You see, my court, she said, her voice trembling but steady. Sometimes the smallest beings carry the greatest truths. They show courage, wisdom, and heart in ways we cannot imagine. And sometimes they teach even royalty how to be brave. Whispers and murmurs ran through the hall. Delegates leaned closer, wings fluttering, tentacles curling, eyes widening. A few exchanged doubtful glances, as if refusing to believe what they were seeing. But the human me stood firm, my chest tight with emotion. I had only spoken the truth about her daughter, about how humans shaped her courage and heart. Yet the impact of that truth stretched far beyond what I had imagined. One judge, the tentacled creature with glowing eyes that had hissed in doubt earlier, now leaned back, its voice almost reverent. Perhaps humans are not so insignificant. Perhaps their courage is not measured in size or strength, but in heart. Its words were soft, but they carried weight. Even it, a being of centuries of authority and power, seemed to recognize the truth I had spoken. The queen lowered her hands, pressing them lightly to her chest. "Your species," she said, her voice barely above a whisper, "humans. Fragile, small, limited in physical strength, yet they carry courage, love, and wisdom that can change lives. They have taught my daughter lessons no throne, no army, no technology could ever provide. They have made her strong, brave, and whole. And for that, I honor them." A ripple of awe spread through the court. Delegates from countless worlds seemed to straighten in their seats, some bowing slightly in respect, others simply watching with wonder. Even the fire-winged being that had scoffed before now lowered its head in quiet acknowledgement. The queen had spoken, and her words carried authority beyond all doubts. I could feel a strange warmth in the room, as if every being present could sense the power of truth spoken honestly, without fear or pride. Humans, so often underestimated, so often dismissed, had a strength that was unseen yet undeniable. A strength of heart, courage, and resilience that even the greatest powers in the galaxy could respect. The queen lifted her head, tears glimmering along her cheeks. "Your daughter is alive, thriving, and carrying the lessons of both our worlds. She is brave because she learned to face fear. She is kind because she learned to care. She is wise because she saw beyond herself. And she shines because she embraced everything she learned from her mother and from humans." Her gaze fell upon me, and in that look I felt something profound: gratitude, recognition, and trust. "You, human, have spoken the truth," she said softly. "You have reminded me that courage is not measured by size, power, or authority. It is measured by heart. And your heart has touched mine and my daughter's in ways no one else could." The court remained silent, but the shift was undeniable. The skeptics, the doubters, the beings who had believed humans to be weak and insignificant, all now seemed to see us differently. Even a small, fragile human could hold truth, courage, and wisdom that could move hearts, heal wounds, and bridge worlds. I bowed my head slightly, humbled by the weight of the moment. "It is not me, Queen," I said quietly. "It is the truth your daughter carries, the lessons you gave her, and the courage she embraced in both worlds. Humans only spoke what she lived." The queen's tears flowed freely now, and she pressed a hand to her face, her long fingers trembling. "Then I see it," she said softly, almost to herself. "I see that my daughter is not only mine. She is her own, but she carries everything I taught her and everything she learned from humans. She is alive, she is strong, and she is extraordinary." For a moment, the entire hall seemed to hold still. The truth of a human's courage had reached across species, touching a queen, her daughter, and an entire court of beings who had never imagined that a small voice could carry so much power. And in that silence, I realized something extraordinary. Humans, though fragile, could shape destinies, heal hearts, and remind even the greatest of leaders what truly mattered. And the queen, standing tall but softened by tears, had witnessed it all. She had seen what humans could teach her daughter, and through that, she had learned something too, that courage, love, and truth were universal, and that even the smallest heart could hold the power to change the galaxy.